Yeah, I think we're going to go with arguably no bias best game of the week, ASU versus Texas Tech, 26-22. The Sun Devils got the win, and ASU definitely saved its season by getting their first top 10 win under Kenny Dillingham, and Texas Tech's dominating Big 12 run officially ends, which does not mean that they're out of it. It just means that they're not undefeated anymore. Like a stat, but not about this game in general, but just about Texas Tech. They never once were losing in any game, and they were 6-0, 6-0 going into this game. They were never losing at all, and they never led in this. Sorry, they did lead for like 2 minutes, but that's crazy if you're a Texas Tech fan because that's a shocker. And I think a big reason, I'll get into the stats after this, I think a big reason why Texas Tech lost this game was because they overlooked ASU. And that's arguably one of the biggest mistakes that you could do, especially with Kenny Dillingham as your head coach if you're ASU. And that's like, if you don't know that by now, then you don't know what ASU even did last year, because when ASU is underdogs, then they perform the best. And I'm not saying that's the case every single game, because we did see the Utah game. But I think a big reason why ASU got this win is because of Sam Levitt. Now, he is sometimes scary to watch with the ball in his hands because he definitely throws the ball and does dangerous decisions, but he's risky and it pays off. 300 yards and one passing touchdown to Jordan Tyson. JT had 10 receptions, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Jaron Hamilton had the same amount of yards as Jordan Tyson, but 7 less catches. And that's the Jaron Hamilton that all the ASU fans have been waiting for, because he's a very explosive guy, and he has not had any explosive plays like that all season, you could say. He's had about 2. Definitely a big one against TCU, but yeah, Texas Tech before the game would get 550 yards per game. That was first, and 47.5 points per game. And I think one big reason was ASU, obviously Texas Tech offense was really crazy, but their starting QB was out, Baron Mortensen, so they had to go with, what's it called? They had to go with Will Hammond. And yeah, I think a big reason is this Texas Tech defense did not look as crazy as I thought it was going to be. Now, one of Texas Tech's best defensive linemen did get injured, and he's injured for the season. But, sorry, I don't know if he's injured for the season.
I think he is out for the season.
Yeah,
Skylar Gil-Howard.
I was thinking Will or Baron Mortensen was only out for this game. Yeah, their defensive lineman is out for the season. And that was a big factor, but this defense did not impress me as I thought it was going to be. And don't get me wrong, this was a very low-scoring game throughout the entire game until the fourth quarter. But, like, I was expecting, with the way that people were talking about this Texas Tech defense, I was expecting them to only hold ASU to, like, field goals, only 3 points, which they did. But ASU pulled away late in the game, and that shows you the stamina or the longevity of this defense, which Texas Tech has never had to do. They've never been losing in their tenure of this year until this game. And I think that shows you that they did not have the mental and physical ability to take their defense that has to be at the top of their peak against this ASU team into the fourth quarter. And they kind of just like let go. And I think they were kind of worn out a little bit by ASU. It was just back and forth. And then you were like, one of these defenses is going to have to break open. And ASU has that experience of playing Baylor and playing TCU and playing Mississippi State and having very close games into the fourth quarter and having to really capitalize. Texas Tech hasn't had to do that once, and I think that's a big reason why they just let up in the end. And if you're an ASU fan, I'm definitely happy, but they have a very tough matchup this week, and I don't want to go into this week already. But none of these teams are out of it yet. A lot of people thought ASU was out of it after that Utah loss, but they're far from out of it. And if you're a Texas Tech fan, just don't overlook ASU and Kenny Dillingham, and you guys will be better off. But ASU beats number 7 Texas Tech 26-22. Great game. Quinn, what are your thoughts?
This was just a great win for Arizona State. They were a desperate team. This was a must-have. If they lost this game, the path to the Big 12 championship was not impossible, but they would need a lot of help. I mean, a lot of help. And they needed to win this one. They were desperate, and desperate teams often tend to play with their heart out, especially if they're getting coached by Kenny Dillingham. Just to set the scene for how crazy this upset was, this was Texas Tech before this game. They were averaging 558 yards per game. That was first in the country. 47 points per game. That was second. They scored at least 34 in each game. They won each game by 24 points or more. On defense, they allowed 12.2 points per game allowed. Their pass rush had the highest PPF grade. 157 pressure. I actually don't think that's true. It's probably at 57, but 57 pressures, 21 sacks. With Will Hammond under center, they ran for 7.5 yards per carry. This was just, Texas Tech was dominating every team they faced. They came into Mountain America Stadium to face Arizona State and Kenny Dillingham. And Arizona State held Texas Tech to 276 total yards, 22 points. They allowed 26 points, which is the lowest of their season. And their defensive line, that was compared to Miami and Ohio State as top 3, top 5, maybe top 10 defensive lines in the country, got evenly matched with ASU's offensive line, with their best lineman out, Ben Coleman, their second-string center, Wade Helton, and they had to start a redshirt freshman who's never started a single game of his collegiate career at center, and they got evenly matched. In Miami, Miller Moss against Miami's defensive line, he got the ball out quick. Sam Leavitt, he did sometimes, but he didn't really try his hard to get the ball out as quick as possible. No, the offensive line just gave him time. And he did take some sacks, but for the most part, it was a clean pocket, probably more than 50% of the time. And this is just, when ASU is hot, when ASU is motivated, when they're doubted, when nobody thinks they're going to win, this is what happens. This is what happened last year, and this is what's happening this year again. So, the stat that told the story, ASU had 6 explosive passes. For me, explosive passes is 15 yards or more. Texas Tech only had 1, and that was the Coy Eakin first touchdown. Great throw by Will Hammond. But just Jaron Hamilton's presence, like JT said, was felt in fall camp, in spring camp. Everyone was talking about Jaron Hamilton and how he's going to come and be the deep ball threat. He's going to catch a bunch of go balls from Sam Leavitt, and I think he got his first catch last week against TCU, which was a pretty nice one at that, and this was his breakout game. He made his presence, and I just want to talk about the final 2 minutes. Texas Tech, they go up 26-22, and in a game where ASU dominated statistically from start to finish, a few bad punts, a few special teams blunders, and just good field position by Texas Tech, they took the lead. 2 minutes left, Sam Leavitt and Jordan Tyson on 4th and 2. As an Arizona State fan, there is nobody else in the country that I would want having a 2-minute drill than Sam Leavitt. He's done this countless times. Jordan Tyson, he was playing on one leg out there. Same with Sam Leavitt. He was not even 75%. But Jordan Tyson, he was limping off the field constantly after every play, and he was still playing his heart out. Now to talk about Texas Tech, they'll be fine. Will Hammond struggled, that is true, but he didn't play awful. I think the main concern is their run game. Their main running back, Cameron Dickey, only had 40 yards on the game. That they just didn't really run the ball all too much. Their two running backs, Dickey and Williams, only had 12 carries. They saw what Utah and Devin Dampier did against ASU. They ran all over them with the quarterback run. Will Hammond got 15 carries. He tried to do that. It didn't really work. But I guess my key takeaway is ASU, they're legit. They beat the 7th best team, and they didn't play close to their best game offensively. Their red zone offense still struggled. And like I said, Arizona State's defense, when they're motivated and play with intensity, they have the capability to lock up anything. And Texas Tech, they'll be fine. It's your first loss. It's the wake-up call, like JT said. They were kind of sleeping on Arizona State. They saw what Utah did, and he was like, we'll just move on. We play BYU next week. We'll get ready for that. ASU, they were ready to play. No, Texas Tech wasn't. And sometimes if you have the better mental ability, that's what's going to win you football games. So great win for Arizona State and Texas Tech. You'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.